If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sori says, $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. $125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at vinsori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in a Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft. Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed, and a child shall lead them. All right, you guys, last song on the stream is called Alone You Breathe. It's Chris's song. And I am going to read the write-up when Vinny gets here. So that way he doesn't miss out on anything. Any of the awesome details. Seriously, you guys, this stream has been very, 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 very good for me. Mojo, thank you so much for putting this together and for making this possible. Honey, you ready? Yeah, very interesting. Mojo, this last song, and maybe you're going to say it in the write-up, this is, what album is this off? I don't know. It's probably going to say it in your thing. So we'll just wait and see what it says there. Did you guys, how does everybody feel about how the streams have been going these last 2 streams? Like, what do you guys rate the album listens from today and tomorrow? Like, overall album, what do you guys give it?
Today and yesterday.
Did I say tomorrow? Yesterday and today. All right. Okay, so I'm going to read I told them to put the 10 out of 10. Nice. Yeah, okay, so last song on the stream, Alone You Breathe, Chris's song. Chris Olivia was killed by a drunk driver while driving to a gig not far from his hometown in the Tampa Bay, Florida area on October 17th, 1993. His wife was in the car with him. His wife, though terribly injured, survived, but Chris was killed instantly. The driver of the other car had 7 prior DUI convictions. At the time, Savatage was in a pre-production for their next record. After a period of mourning on the first day of rehearsals following Chris's death, when bassist John Lee Middletown walked into the studio, the first thing he saw was Chris's guitars and rigs set up in the studio as if he was coming in to record a take. He decided he was not ready to resume working on another record. Drummer Steve Doc Washoltz left the band temporarily after the previous record for personal reasons and decided not to return after Chris's death. This left John alone to push forward. John wrote the album and played all the bass and drum parts. He shared rhythm guitar parts with Paul O'Neill. Zach Stevens, who was hired as the band's frontman after John stepped down, came back to sing vocals as he had only been in the band a short time. And they brought Alex Skolnick from Testament in for lead guitar. Oh, wow. Alex, a friend of the band and not in Testament at the time, agreed to record 1 record and do 1 tour to help his friends get back on their feet. Some of the lyrics for Alone You Breathe were written years before Chris was killed about a friend of John's. It was an unfinished song, and John realized he couldn't play the song without thinking about Chris. John finished the song, put it on this record, and dedicated it to his brother. While some of the lyrics in the first half of the song are clearly not about his brother, the second half was written 100% about Chris. In the years since this song was recorded, when it has been performed, John does not refer to it with the name given on the record. He always refers to it as Chris's song. I think it's a fitting song to end the stream with. I have to say one thing about Zach Stevens' performance on the song. One of the hardest things for any vocalist to do is to take the words of someone that someone else has written, internalize them, and make a connection so that they can sing them with the same conviction as the person who wrote them. Zach had only known Chris for a short time, and he does a superb job of emoting the pain, anger, and despair John must have been feeling when he wrote those words. Thank you, Sori, for reading all of this, and thanks to everyone for listening.
All right, guys. Chris's song. Let's just do it that way. This is Chris's song, dear listener. Rest in peace to the homie. And yeah, let's do it. What was the name of the song again?
It's called Alone You Breathe.
I do have it. Go.
Of us is now in exile, which in need of amnesty. Are you now but an illusion? In my mind alone you breathe. You believed in things that I will never know. You were out there drowning, but it never showed. Till inside a rain-swept night just let go. You've thrown it all away, and now we'll never see the ending to the play. Final line, and what was meant to be. In the dark, a distant runner now has disappeared into the night, leaving us to stand and wonder, staring from this end into your life. In things that I will never know. You were out there drowning, but it never showed. Till inside a rain-swept night you just let go. is falling as the feathers of his life fall free. Can you see? Tomorrow's newborn eyes, or could it be? We'll never know. And after all, this was the show. What am I to do? Gotta get back, gotta get back, gotta get back. What am I to do? Gotta get back, gotta get back. Gotta get back. What am I to do? Standing on a dream isn't what it seems. Could we then reclaim a dream refused? Knowing what we know, could we let it go? Realizing that all the years are used. Tomorrow and after, you tell me what am I to do? I stand here believing that in the dark there is a blue. I am the way, I am the light, I am the dark inside the night. I hear your hopes, I feel your dreams, and in the dark I hear your screams.
Have you ever seen that before? Where they take a chorus and use it in two different songs?
Well, that's what he was saying, that they do more than everybody. Remember, they had done that before. We didn't recognize it because we didn't know the other albums, but
yeah, I thought it was just like, you remember we listened to, okay, I don't remember who it was, but they it was basically like in the song they found a strategic way of adding in band names. And the whole song. Then there was another one where it was like band songs and stuff like that. Like, I didn't know they literally used like a chunk of a chorus from another song and put it in here.
Unforgiven, I think.
Was it a very meaningful part of the song? Like, obviously, that was such a significant part of the song for us.
Probably not at that level.
Like, this is like, and where he brings it into this song, like, it's at the ending. It's Chris's song. Like, wow, that was just.
Yeah, like I probably couldn't be in the band anymore either. I just
that's just too much.
It's just tough. But honestly, no, that was a very spiritual record that we listened to just now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, we were talking about this yesterday, where I'm like, what is the point of that? Like, because the girl, Dawn, that was in the car, like, no disrespect to her, but she survived.
His wife, yeah.
The guy that did it With the 7 DUIs, he had minor injuries, and Chris is killed instantly. And I was just like, yo, man, like, I hate situations like that. And then you had talked about how, look, if that rose awareness so that, I don't know, God knows how many people would have thought twice about drinking and driving, then that was worth it. And so it's like, yeah,
and here's another angle too.
You know,
the spiritual record that comes out of that.
Right. So, you know, it must be really difficult to, I really, you know, salute the hell out of the brother for continuing the band, because I just wouldn't be able to do it. Yeah. Especially considering, like, there's nothing you can really do to the person that did it because he's in police custody, obviously. Mm-hmm. So you can't, you know, there's no real way to square that situation. Mm-hmm. But it was crazy because I did some research on the guy that had done it, and after he got locked up in prison, because I wanted to, like, look at his life and be like, what lessons did you learn? Yeah. He became a teacher, but then he got jammed up again for driving without a license or whatever, which probably they had probably permanently suspended his license. But under the comment section, people were like, yo, that's my teacher. I'm so disappointed. Yeah. And you could tell that the students didn't know what this guy actually did because nobody mentioned the band. So that tells me, like, they just knew him as just a guy. Yeah. And he had a shot at starting over regular and living his life after he did his time, and somehow he's able to become a teacher. Figure that one out. And it's just one of those things where, like, his past, you know, I mean, I guess here in Florida, you got to drive, right? Like, public transportation. It's just a crazy situation, man.
I'm just glad that, like, it wasn't another DUI. He was driving without a license, which is legal. He shouldn't have been doing that.
Sure. Yeah.
Like, there was no influence, and he had done the teaching thing, and, you know, I don't know why he was behind the wheel. You know what I mean? I lost my license once when I was a teenager for, like, I don't know,
really?
30 days or 3 months or something, and it was horrible. It was so frustrating, so stressful, having to rely on everybody around you, and so, you know, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
oh yeah.
So if he would have been drinking and driving, I'd be like, wow, you literally didn't learn your lesson. But he's like, look, I crashed because I was under the influence, and I'm not going to do that again because I'm not under the influence. I need to use my car or whatever. So, and the fact that he went to be a teacher, and that if you have students that are like, oh, that was my teacher, I don't, you know, like, that to me sounds like he had a positive influence on them, because it's not like they were like, yeah, fuck that guy. You know what I mean? Like, they were like, this is my teacher. I don't understand. You know what I'm saying? Like, sure, he wanted to separate himself from. That's crazy to have to.
Yeah. When asked for a comment about Chris, his father said he lived for that guitar, referring to his love for the guitar. I'd go over to his home for a visit, and no matter what he was doing, on the phone, eating dinner, Chris would always have that guitar in his hands. You know, like, yeah. He just, I remember when I first, yeah, these guys are super spiritual. So the wife also died recently. She died in 2005.
What year did he die?
He died in 1996, I think it was.
Oh, she still went almost 10 years without him.
What?
That would have been, what, 9 years?
Yeah. She was only 41.
That's so freaking crazy. What happened?
I don't know.
When it said,
yeah, they were separated by 12 years. They don't know why. I mean, look, it's a sad story, but at the same time, these guys are obviously aware of the spiritual world, and so, like, I'm not gonna be a downer about it. I mean, they're together now. I'm very, very confident that man and wife are together now. It is what it is. Chris died in 93, so it was 12 years. Go ahead. What were you saying?
Okay. When this part I thought was, like, wow, just, like, interesting, kind of the way that it hit me. In the dark, a distant runner now has disappeared into the night, leaving us to stand in wonder, staring from this end into your life. Mm-hmm. Like obviously the distant runner thing that was like pretty sad, that part of it. But then when he said leaving us to stand in wonder staring from this end into your life, I was like, wow, like, yeah, that's true. Like there is a certain, so like when a child is born and you're looking at their little face, you're like, there's so many hopes and dreams. Like their life is not there. It's just like just there. You know what I mean? Like you're just seeing them for the first time and you're looking into their face, but you see like the line goes out beyond them. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, when you have somebody that's fully grown, like I experienced this time in your life with you, but I look to your past and then I look to your future and, you know, you kind of try to make this is Vin, you know? But then, you know, when somebody passes away, like the line stops from your perspective. And so now you're looking into their life from that angle and you're trying to, you know, like what happened, what, you know, and you see things differently, like, you know, and like, I think that when the person is there, like sometimes people are talking to me and I'm like, yo, you never stop talking. And I'm not really interested in this topic, you know, like, sometimes, you know, but then it's like, but when you lose somebody, I think that you would wish that you could have all those conversations back to hear all the details that you missed. You know, what was it that they were trying to communicate? What did it mean behind their words? What did, you know, like all the thinking that, you know, that could be done, but you're just so overwhelmed. There's so much going on in life. And like the brevity of life sometimes doesn't really, like, it's not necessarily a part of, I mean, these guys they were rocking hard, you know, the band was right in action. There's a lot going on for them. And so you wouldn't expect that all of a sudden on the way to the show that was going to happen. And then all of a sudden everybody is thrown into this new reality where the person is no longer with you. And like, man, I don't know. That's just, so yeah, staring from this end into your life was just like an interesting, like,
yeah, this is a silent count for me because it looks like his basically they said she was found dead in her apartment, and then John, Chris's brother, said basically ever since his death she's had a very, very hard time with his loss, and hopefully she finds a peace that she wanted, which indicates that considering how young she was,
I wonder who was driving, her or him.
Yeah, she never recovered. She never really recovered from losing Chris, and I think her injuries from the crash were significant. Yeah, I mean, yeah, again, at this
because
point,
even if there's
it's complete speculation, but if you put two and two together the way he talked about it, she's only 41 years old. I mean, God.
If we were driving in a car together and a drunk driver crossed the line and I was the driver and I lived and you didn't.
Yeah, I hear you. I know. So anyway, again, we knew it was going to be a little bit heavy, but you know, it just goes to show, guys, that the people that we have in our lives are gifts, and we shouldn't take them for granted. And don't love your friends and your partner extra hard because you're terrified they're going to die tomorrow. Just love them just because, and enjoy it. Be in the moment, and understand that collection of consciousnesses that you call your friend or your wife or your husband or your whatever. It is an amazing thing. It's an honor to be able to see another one of us, much less get to know and have that person dedicate a good portion of their consciousness to you. Because essentially, that's all you're doing in a relationship. You're saying, let's interface consciousnesses and experience the same things together. That's all a relationship is. So if you've got somebody that's like committed to doing that with you in all its various forms, whether friendship or marriage or brother or sister or whatever it is, that's a beautiful thing, and don't take that for granted. It's a silent count for me.
Silent count for me as well. You know what's one thing that's interesting, like when you're thinking about like the consciousnesses, I think that a lot of times in relationships, I'm probably speaking primarily about marriage because it's a commitment that you make to each other. And there's sort of a contract, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like a friendship where there's no contract, there's no nothing. It's just you both enjoy each other, and so you know, you take up the same space together because you just like each other. But like in a marriage, I think that sometimes people can get lost in the fact that, like, well, you hear people say it like, well, we're still together, we stayed together for the kids.
Yeah.
But you're really, really missing the point. And I think that the thought of like multiple consciousnesses within one consciousness, and like the multiple sides of a person or the world inside of you, when you start discovering that for yourself, all that is within you, and you see more of who you are, and you understand things and how it connects to your past and how it connects to why you reacted a certain way to something. And like the idea of recognizing that world, and then recognizing that the other person is more than just what they project out and what they like, how they react in a situation, but that there's a whole world going on inside of them, just like in you. Mm-hmm. And then saying like, okay, like in this brief time that we have together on Earth, like how much of my consciousness can I open up to you, and how much can you open up to me, so we can really, really get to know each other. I think is probably the goal, but I think it's a lot of times missed because people are just trying to survive the being in the same vicinity as the other person sometimes, you know, like
survive.
Yeah, and I don't think that people realize, like, I think that because we like dwindle somebody down to something so small, and then you're annoyed with their little quirks, and they're annoyed with yours, and like the environment can, like, I noticed that like a lot of marriages, like the environment gets like toxic, like two kids, you know what I mean? Like without a parent there to say, yo. So I don't know. It's just a funny thing. And so I like the idea of the consciousness thing where, we can kind of like, there's more to explore. You know what I mean?
100%. 100%.
And it does explain, like, cause I was always confused as to why, like there was sometimes like, there's like a part of me that's like, yo, you're really annoying me right now. And then there's like a part of me that's like, yeah, but let's still do something together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then it kind of like explains some of that stuff, you know, like, anyway.
And there's old monster.
Well, I don't know if that's like,
They're
that's
probably,
Reza.
Yeah, he's okay. They're probably arguing over the cover.
Well, that's a
cover.
cry that is unfamiliar to me.
He's okay, I promise you.
I think Zoe's going in there. So
stop with Snoopy. Do I hear kids in the background? You hear
a child.
A child.
But you know, he has the vocal.
Shout out to the big homie Mojo. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
We're a little bit long today, guys. Sorry, but this was, you know, it's Savatage.
It had to be. It had to be.
It had to be this way.
Wow. Definitely really, really enjoyed this whole thing. The conversation was really good.
Yeah.
It was eye-opening. It felt like we were in,
it was
like...
heart-opening, too.
Yeah, heart-opening. Yeah, it was. And it just felt like it just had, like, this... I don't know, this therapeutic angle. Like, I'm not sure. Like, I really, really am glad that all of us were able to experience it together, and that, you know, we had some repeat people in the comment section that were here for both days.
Yeah,
and,
shout
like,
out to
I don't know. It's just it's an experience.
Yeah, Jazakallahu khair ya Ibn Omar.
Thanks for sharing your consciousness with us today.
Yes, thank you for sharing your consciousnesses with us today, ladies and gentlemen. That's a real talk. I really, really appreciate that. That's what we're about. That's what we're about. That's what we're about.
I mean, I would have stayed 3 more hours with you.
You'd hit your limit at about 4.5. Yeah, Ibn Omar. You would reach your limit. You'd be like, you know what?
Don't worry,
That's
there's
how
more.
they say it in Britain. They'd be like, you know what?
You know what?
Yeah, you know what? That's when they're about to say some real shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what? I'm like, this British person's about to do some shit on my leg.
Yeah.
You know what? So, anyway, shout out to all you beautiful people. Shout out to the big homie Mojo.
Marco,
Marco,
you did. You missed the whole thing.
Marco, you were early for tomorrow, inshallah.
Yes.
Tomorrow. You're early for tomorrow. Gotham is yours.
Sorry.
I hate when people do that, bro.
Did I miss it? Well, what are you asking?
Did I miss it? And then one time Jay jumped in. He's like, I'm here.
Oh.
I was like, we were literally about to hit finish on the thing.
That depends. Did you show up just to see us say Vin out, Sori out?
Right.
You
If you showed up to see the outro, you're just in time.
You made it.
You made it. Shout out to Marco and the person on his shoulders. That is dual. Looks like it's dual. Okay.
Right.
So we got streams scheduled for what's today? Tuesday. Do we have a stream scheduled tomorrow?
Well, tomorrow is what's the day here? Yeah, tomorrow is these. If when we're gonna get that done.
Yes,
so yeah,
okay,
it should be tomorrow.
Should be
and
tomorrow.
then we have another one the day after, and we have another one on Friday as well. So
We have one on Friday?
Yep, this homie.
Which homie?
Gabe is on Friday.
All right, Gabe is on Friday. Excelente, excelente. All right, guys, we have to get out of here. Vin out.
Sori out.